is still more expensive than I'd still recommend anyone from getting it. But yeah, well, it's cool. But it's
works.
about as complicated as you could imagine. Where, well, you won't be learning to fly a plane in a game. You'll be learning to fly a fucking FA-18C Hornet, just the way it would be in real life, and that's about as complicated as you can imagine it is. Holy shit! But the fun thing for me, and this is obviously for anyone else that has virtual reality, this thing is virtual reality capable, and not just that.
Good grief!
I can partner that up with my actual flight stick, with my VR set, and then with my VR, controllers. They actually function like hands, and I can lean over and flick every fucking switch. And that's the level of realism that, well, if you were to upload that to Pornhub, I'd probably not do it. So yeah, that's definitely my cup of tea. But it is frustrating because you'll know that you just made a purchase for about 30 bucks. And in order to really experience it, you're looking at countless fucking hours. Just not even playing and flying. No, it's a whole different ball game just trying to get the thing to turn on. That's about 4 fucking hours of training to just turn the goddamn airplane on. Holy shit, guys. That's stupid. So, obviously after 4 hours of getting a headache and trying to get this thing to fucking function, as you start kind of regretting your purchase, you're like, should I have done this? But I'm still trying to, trying to teach myself to fly this thing, and I hopefully that when I actually do master it, it does sound like it'll be fucking amazing fun. If you do, because it's one thing from playing a video game and flying an aircraft to being in virtual reality and flying a fucking Hornet the way it would be in real life. Because it is, even in VR, which the technology permitted doesn't always look photorealistic. Because the graphics in the game without VR will always look better than when you've got VR turned on, because VR obviously demands a lot more. So you'll be playing at medium graphics as opposed to high graphics, which is fine. But even with VR on medium, it still looks pretty fucking realistic, because you'll notice that the canopy around you sometimes actually reflects the fucking sunlight and has working mirrors, and sometimes when you fly over a fucking forest, you'll see the trees being reflected from the sun in your window. Bro, what? What? I mean, it sounds like such. I mean, it sounds like it, and it is absolutely useless and distracting. But it is so cool and immersive.
Yes, this is why I would like a full dive.
Good God. You would like what?
Full dive.
Sounds that.
That is VR, but then so pretty much a system will cut off. Like you have to lay in bed for that, preferably, or sit in a chair. You know Sword Art Online, right?
Yeah.
So practically, what it does is it cuts off, like the device in your head practically cuts off all the brainwaves that will go through your body, and in fact picks it up. Like it literally just.
Oh yeah. Like it's like VR as if you're actually physically there.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that would be ideal.
If
Honestly,
like,
I'd love that.
But like it actually intercepts every brainwave. You will not like it does that, so you can't move your body at all IRL.
Yeah, and the fun thing about this is that obviously when you're not moving, you're relaxing your muscles. The only thing that's being used is basically your brain, your subconscious then.
Yep.
Meaning that you can replace sleeping with having fun adventures in VR. Suddenly. Obviously, you'll still need actual rest, but
yeah, because the thing is though, with VR at that point, you're still using your brain, and your brain is the thing that actually needs rest.
Yeah, well, it's your brain, but it's kind of a combination of your body and your brain, honestly. You'll notice obviously that once you're getting tired, you're not able to move as quick and react as quick as you can. That's partly the reaction time is part of your brain, obviously. But your brain's not the one that's moving your arm. Your arm is moving your arm.
But it's the brain waves that have been intercepted.
Obviously, meaning that yes, you can. You'll probably, let's say, you'll get some rest whilst you're doing it, but you'll still need a couple of hours of actual sleep after it.
Yeah.
But you could definitely get away with getting a good few hours in every night and then go to sleep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One research I've been really getting into is lucid dreaming, which always kind of sounded like absolute fucking hippie speak that I didn't really believe in. I think that's an actual thing you can do. But it's becoming more and more accessible, and more people come out and say that it is real and you can do it. I've tried, it failed, because it's not as easy to get into it. But lucid dreaming is basically when you're dreaming, you're obviously usually 9 out of 10 times, if not every single fucking time you've ever dreamt, you're basically watching something happen as opposed to playing out in it. You're basically, it's like you're watching a cutscene that sometimes really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yes.
With lucid dreaming, you'll realize that you're dreaming within the dream, meaning that suddenly you become conscious in your own dream, meaning that you can move around and do shit and basically create scenarios for yourself. It's a lot of trickery with your brain, and it's a lot of training that goes into this, I might say. You have to teach yourself to do this, but there's been multiple people that have been confirming this for a while now, that once you do master it, it's basically you go to sleep, you trick your brain into waking itself up in the dream, and boom, that's it. You're basically in VR. You can come up with every single situation you can imagine. Basically, close your eyes in the dream and imagine you're in Paris, and then open your eyes and boom, there you are. You can do this with items, people, and you name it. And that sounds, in a way, interesting as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. This sounds like I'm gonna throw out the biggest pun here. This sounds like a dream, which it is. But it still, to me, sounds a little bit daisy. Because this is definitely, the people that have said this, obviously, that this genuinely replaces dreaming. Because this is not your brain really working. This is your subconscious kind of doing a trick on itself. And it's usually you'll still wake up a little dazed and tired, because obviously your brain, like you said, is still working in a way. But I'd imagine that this is basically the VR you mentioned without even needing the goggles or any technology whatsoever.
Yeah.
And more I've kept an eye on it, because there's tricks to go to sleep and try to trick your brain into doing it. There's a lot of training involved, with tricks involved, and even then some people don't even pull it off. And I've never done it. But even some people that I knew said they've done it, and I don't really take those people for liars, so I'll go and believe it. But more and more you'll see technology get developed. This one time there was this face screen that emits a couple of signals or lights around your eyes whilst you're sleeping, and then some way you'll see that during your dream, and if you recognize it, the moment you recognize it, you're conscious. That means that you know where you are. So it'll automatically try to trick your brain. And I'll see slowly that technology is going to get developed a bit more once people start picking this up, and more people start believing in that this is actually real. Because at the moment, when you bring this up during normal conversation, it kind of sounds like fairy tale talk in a way. Like it sounds kind of out there and weird, and are you sure this is real, kind of thing. But I do believe that this is real, but I also believe that we're going to need a while till this is adapted into the actual market and taken up by, people. Because I think this could not replace VR, because there's obviously a couple of things you can do with VR that this couldn't do. But it's still pretty fucking interesting in its own way. It's an alternative to VR, and this allows you to obviously do a couple of things that VR doesn't allow you to do.
Yep.
This really is. You are there. You feel things, you experience things, and you're there. Some guy actually admitted, we all think about this at night sometimes. We were all going to try this at one point. I've done it, I know, but I've had sex in my dreams, and trust me, it felt real. And obviously, you're listening to that and you're kind of laughing. But he's right, we all would have done it. Honestly, one night I would have tried it. I'm not gonna lie. But him describing it like, yes, it does feel fucking real. Like, yes, of course it would. Of course it would feel real, because your brain is making you, kind of tricking you into feeling it. Because this is not you watching through a VR goggle, you know, as if you're there. This is basically what you mentioned, where your brain is the one that's in charge, and your brain is definitely capable of letting you believe that you're feeling something. We've all had the feeling that you've got an itch somewhere, but you really don't. Wait a minute, that's just your brain fucking up.
Yep.
Your brain is definitely capable of faking feelings. Not feelings, but you know, the touch of things or whatever. Just like basically your mind knows, you know, how something would feel before you touch it. You look at something, you know how it feels, even though you haven't touched it. If you look at a brick wall, you kind of know what it's going to feel like before you touch it.
Yep.
That's just your brain telling you. Obviously, you'll need to, and this is the key. It's a lot more accurate when you've experienced something in real life. This guy has never fired a gun in his life, so he always said that when I fire a gun in my dream, it's always going to feel a bit weird, because he's never fired a gun in real life. He doesn't know what the recoil is like or what it's like, so the dream isn't able to simulate that. Same goes for sex. It's probably going to feel kind of weird. It's going to feel the way you think it feels if you've never done it, or fired a gun, or anything else you haven't done. But the things you have done are gonna look and feel realistic as shit, and that's kind of interesting and oddly terrifying. So
mostly terrifying, if you ask me.
I mean, the same goes where this guy said that, you know, obviously if you'll notice that dreams, they last a lot longer than you think they do. You'll be asleep for about half an hour, but you think that you've been dreaming for 2 hours. And that's definitely something that can fuck you up when you wake up in the morning. You'll think you've spent a fucking day, and suddenly you wake up and you're like, whoa, what the hell? And one trick at least that anyone that has any experience in this would say is never, ever imagine yourself with someone that you know. Not a friend, not a family member, not your girlfriend, nothing, because eventually, after a while, you'll stop to kind of... It's not. You'll be finding it difficult to differentiate what happens in a dream and what happens in real life. Sometimes you'll be thinking, wait, didn't we do this? But no, it was a dream. It wasn't in real life. So that can kind of throw you off balance, because this is still your brain we're talking about.
Yep.
So that's dangerous. So that's kind of leading me to believe that, you know, this is oddly it is interesting, but it is terrifying in its own way. There's a danger here that isn't there in VR. But the same could be said for the kind of VR that you're talking about, because that's essentially the same thing. Just, you know, with a little bit of technology involved to smoothen the experience.
Yeah, and hopefully not a helmet type of thing that is rigged with so many batteries that it can literally pulls out your brain.
Or
strong.
I don't know, shortcut to catch fire when you won't notice, but you're on fire right now.
Yep. Because in Sword Art Online, the helmet that the character wearing actually have a lot of fucking batteries in them, and there is just one reason for that. Well, so the device needs to have power, but since Kayaba, the developer of Sword Art Online in the story, knew what he was doing, he also had like a couple of rules selected. Like, if you get disconnected from the internet, you have like 2 hours to be connected again. Otherwise, you would die. If you get pulled off of the power, there's still like the batteries, and you have like a couple of hours still of battery life. When that goes down, you still indeed just your brain get fried. Like, there's still like a couple of things, but like they did that, like he did that so that people still could be moved to hospitals and such.
Yeah.
Because eventually every character that wakes up in hospital.
Yeah. And that's kind of what would happen, isn't it?
Yeah, but like it is good that he, like, even though like it took 2 years, like that's also a fun fact, by the way. It's supposed to happen one day after my birthday in 2022.
Well then.
The 6th of November 2022 should be the start of Sword Art Online.
The thing is that even though obviously Sword Art Online doesn't make, it doesn't beat around the bush, and it does, obviously detail out pretty well. There are dangers involved with this thing. There's a lot of risk, and it can go wrong quite heavily. And still,
Well, this is not.
despite that, I definitely say that if Sword Art Online were to be a real thing, I'd fucking do it.
Yeah, even if
I'd be down for that.
I don't even care if it. I've said this before. Like, if it becomes a dev game, fuck it. I'll enjoy it.
I mean, if obviously if I know it's gonna be a dead game going into it, I'll probably still do it. But if I know it's a dead game after I already got in and I kind of got fucked into it, it's like, well, I guess this is my life now. Short this may be.
Yeah, people in Sword Art Online took 2 years to get out. 2 years to get to floor 75. In the first month, there were like 2,000 dead. And you know what one of the first deaths was in the game? Or like story related?
Well,
it was somebody jumping off the side of Aincrad. It's a floating fucking castle. Somebody just jumped off, hoping they would wake up that way. And then there's like that memorial board in the mausoleum where you would normally respawn. And their name just got relentlessly crossed out. That person just died.
oof.
But there's like a big ass fence around like the first floor, and he managed to climb up and still jump down. And this is something that is never mentioned in the
Someone's dedicated to killing themselves.
Well, he was hoping he would wake up and like still get out of it.
Yeah, I get it.
But this is something that they never mention in the anime. Yeah, never in the anime. Like, the reason why I know that is because it's actually in the light novel. But like, the anime never describes as like the Town of Beginnings having like a fence around it as well, like on the... Because the Town of Beginnings is literally on the edge of Aincrad instantly. So if you were to get into like the first town, you'd have to like just go to the edge of town, like you'd find yourself at the edge of like the floating castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody just climbs up and just decided to jump down. And when I read that, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Still glad I'm going through those light novels though, because holy shit, they're interesting as hell. I like seeing it the way like the light novel describes it, because the light novels actually came first. Like the one who wrote the light novel actually started in 2001. He actually entered a writing competition and he had to pull out with Sword Art Online. And you know why?
What?
Because he actually had too many pages.
Nice.
Then in 2008, the writer actually started again, like getting in the same competition, but then with Axelworld, which actually won. And later on, that Sword Art Online and Axelworld both got made into the actual books. And eventually we got an anime. And I'm actually planning on getting Axelworld as well.
Nice.
Which is about 20 books at this point as well. Like Sword Art Online is 20... well, Sword Art Online is 24, but there's only 19 translated to English. Axelworld is around 20, which most of has been translated as well. And there's still Sword Art Online Alternative, which is 6 books, and I'm going to get those as well.
Alright.
An alternative is in the gunfighting game. Practically what I'm doing after this one. Because right now I'm in Sword Art Column O, or SA Column O. Which means it's Sword Art Origin. Which happens on Iron Ground. It's weird. But like literally the town that I'm in, like during this game, is the Town of Beginnings as well. That's the only thing they've actually replicated from Sword Art Online. This game is really fucking interesting in that sense, because it literally, even though it's like the same type of thing, like you're not dealing with floors anymore, you're just dealing with areas. Funnily enough, that is exactly what my story was, dealing with areas and not with floors. Yeah, I'm actually glad to be going through this, although the controls of this game are weird. Well, your movements, you almost don't do anything with the mouse. You can't actually select any controls for the mouse.
No, okay.
Even though you can use the mouse to like look around and like attack and such. Like it's still, it's weird. Your character menu was on U, so I've first transpired to C, but then I noticed that this is the character menu. It's a fucking main menu. So I rebounded to escape. If I want to go a step back, then I press C now. It's if I look into the set controls, yeah, it's rotating your camera, IKJL, walking is left shift, battle, locking originally was like a different button. I had locking on E and now I have it on T. Like your normal attack was whatever button it was at first. A lot of these buttons here I've actually had to change myself. Because the buttons just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I spent the first half an hour just changing every button. Just to, like, make them a little bit more used to like how I want to play games.
Oh, by the way, now that I'm looking at the calendar here, I almost forgot that the 9th of June is when the fleet carriers and Elite will finally make it to the live service.
Oh my. That's exactly a month before the game that I've pre-ordered comes out.
Really?
Yep. Sword Art Online, Alicization, Licorice.
Of course it would be Sword Art Online, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's a deluxe edition, €90 I've paid for it.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just a new Sword Art Online game, and like, I want to see like what step they've taken this time around.
I mean, that's fair.
And since I'm really into the Sword Art Online games right now, I like the anime, and like especially like also the books and such. Like hell yeah, I'm up for like playing like the newest game.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, Sword Art Online's always been one of those few anime that even I was genuinely kind of interested in. Even though I've never watched it and probably won't. It always kind of sounds like one of those anime that's kind of... basically everything but what I always hate in anime. Like the weird story tropes, or the annoying ass characters, or the over-the-top main characters, or the unbelievably dumb over-the-top plots. No, everything was pretty well-rounded. The plot was kind of out there, but still believable in its own way, kind of interesting in its own way. The characters were definitely, well, rather interesting because, well, one, they didn't look out of place. Actually, I mean, that's the kind of fun thing about if you got this weird-ass online MMO-like community, basically. Everyone kind of looks a bit out there because, you know, it's kind of based on the game, so that's completely fine. And you know that there are different people who are, well, interesting in its own way.
Actually, the difference like between faces IRL and faces game isn't that different.
Well, I mean, it is still anime after all. They always kind of
No. So the thing is, if you look at like the faces IRL of the characters and then the faces that are in the game in that sense, the reason why there's not that big of a difference between it is simply because what the developer does of the game, he actually to clarify how real Sword Art Online is, like how real the dev game is in that sense, he gives them all a mirror and he literally the faces that they've all created, all the characters, like everyone created for themselves, get turned back into their actual faces. So at first Kirito has indeed a different face, but then it changed over to his actual face.
That is pretty cool.
But honestly, if you want, I can actually lend you like the books as well eventually.
Yeah, maybe. Not really too big into reading, really, but yeah, maybe give it a shot.
I mean, the story begins a little bit weird.
I mean, that's the anime guarantee. It's always a bit weird.
Well,
even normal ones are a bit weird.
that's not the thing. Like, where the anime begins a little bit better in that sense.
Alright.
Because the anime actually begins like where the story begins. The book begins at floor 74. The floor before it actually ends. Before the arc should end.
Yeah.
So that, yeah. I mean, very soon after that, you still get like some conversation at the very start and such. Like you still see things. Like they still explain to you like how the start was eventually. But still, like you get a lot of things that they skip over like at first. That in the anime, like you do instantly see. But I'm guessing like the light novel actually just the first shows all the things like from the higher floors, and then shows me like memory parts like the very beginning floors.
Yeah.
Because in the anime, like when Kirito and Asuna like eat together, when he gets that Rage Out Rabbit's S-rank meat, that's like pretty far into the story, but that's like what, chapter 7, chapter 6 in the book?
Alright.
And that's like end of the arc, originally.
Pretty interesting way to tell a story, I'd say.
I mean, it's still great.
I mean, even though sometimes it's not the way it's usually done, that's kind of the reason as to why it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the few things in the, if you look at, the actual writers, the actual proper ones, like the guy that did Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or even the Da Vinci Code or whatever, they always have their own unique style.
Yep.
Sometimes, and even I am able to identify some phrases written by a writer and recognize exactly who wrote it just because of their style. And this is coming from me, someone that barely reads anything. So it's definitely possible. And this is kind of ironic when you actually go to school and you have this assignment for English or Dutch or whatever, you have to write something. Your teacher kind of punishes you for trying to do something interesting and you have to kind of conform by the norm, which is kind of counterintuitive to actually teaching anyone to actually write. Sure.
Yep.
But doing things a bit differently is exactly the way I like it, and that's why you'll notice that some of my stories, the ideas are kind of out there, and sometimes it's not exactly told in the most logical kind of ways, but that's exactly why I like doing it. Because I do like to keep things a bit interesting, and sometimes it is either hit or miss. It's either the way you're doing it, it's either going to be amazing and everyone loves it, or people will hate you for it.
Yep.
Because you've completely fucked it up. But yeah, well, willing to make that risk. As long as I enjoy writing it, I've not got any problem with it, because I'm not really having any kind of delusion.
What are you doing? I hear like you moving a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm putting my VR set on. And that's a bit difficult. Okay, I've got it all taken care of now.
Okay.
Alright, good. Alright, I'm actually gonna see if I can get something working here. Because, let me just share my screen for a second here actually to show you the kind of problem that I've got.
Alright.
Wait, I'll actually stream it. It's
stream the game. I think you should only see the game now, should you?
I don't see anything.
Well, that's definitely not the way it should be. It is showing on my side on Discord though, like it is showing the game. But
Yeah, no, it is now. Yeah.
okay, but do you see it like an actual screen or like a thing? Do you see it
No,
in
I-
1920 blah blah blah?
No, I see like a screen, but the thing is, I do actually hear your game sounds as well.
Yeah, but that is likely kind of the point here because I want to test something. I'll turn the sound down so because we don't really need it at the moment. You can kind of lightly hear it. But I'm trying to get the actual like the resolution of the screen. I want to get that done so you're not looking at a. Basically, you're looking at a 1920 screen, but then tilted up. Looking like this. That's definitely not the good way.
Yeah, no, I'm still looking at like the screen is like vertical in that sense, but I still see everything like normally turned around.
I mean, yeah, that is good if you're supposed to not see it vertically at all.
You know, like the screen is high, but the menu is showing like in the normal way.
Yeah, no, that's the way I see it as well. Because obviously, when you're playing VR, sometimes the game is actually playing on your screen as well. And what I can see is I've got this vertical screen, and then I see my my actual desktop on the side of it, which is not the way it's supposed to be. But surely there has to be an option somewhere, because some games actually have this where it's like a button to press somewhere, where you can basically flip-flop it around. But some other games don't. But I've seen people when you make videos of this game in VR, and from the way it's showing on the video, that's definitely the way. That's normal screen resolution as opposed to sideways screen resolution. That's the way it's looking kind of right now. But this is all looking pretty normal actually. Nothing anything out of the ordinary. Obviously, this one we don't really need to change. That's one. It doesn't really affect this screen anyway. And this is the kind of game I'm taking. I mean, look at all these fucking options. If I put it on 3 screen, because I do have 3 screens, what is this gonna look like? It might not even work because obviously I'm on VR mode at the moment. But oh yeah, that the game does this where you change a setting and it restarts the game for you.
Yeah, and also kills off the stream on Discord.
Yeah, no, I imagine it would. Luckily, it's a pretty quick startup thing, but I'm kind of worried that it's not gonna do the trick. It's not gonna show the 3 screens. Yeah, it's on VR, but it really just shut off. But fuck off. I'm gonna share the screen. The thing is that obviously I'm looking at this through VR, so I'm gonna need you to tell me if anything I do is actually working. That's the problem here. I can't really look at my screen with my VR goggle on, and I can't really see the things I'm supposed to click on without the VR goggle on.
Yeah, so no, I think I also figured out why I didn't see anything at first.
Oh.
Because I'm streaming, it kind of gives me like the don't show screen at first. I need to click on it and then accept it.
Yeah. Oh, good. I mean, look at this bullshit. You have to thought Elite was bad when it comes to key bindings. Now look at all this bullshit. It's even categorized per airplane. Look at this fucking West, dude!
Hot
Holy
damn.
shit. I don't want to kill myself. What have I done? I've moved my G-force and that's pretty cool, but don't know how well anything is gonna work. Body pilot is pretty shit. None of this is looking anything. External views. Might use that. But not now. Not what I need. I do like this one where the sounds are actually simulated the way you would hear it if you were wearing like a pilot's helmet, which is basically ultimate immersion mode. But it does sound a bit funny though, where you think you'd be hearing things that you really don't hear, but that's because you probably hear them without your helmet on. That's the kind of thing. But because I've got my goggles on my face and I've got my headset wrapped around my head, it does feel like I've got my helmet, like I've got a helmet on. So this is why I kept that option there. Otherwise, I may have opted out of it. Oh well. But that kind of does feel like you're watching through a pair of goggles, and that's exactly the way you would see things if you're wearing that kind of pilot's helmet, because those pilot's helmets are funny looking things. But I really just don't see. I really just resolution of cognitive. I definitely have trouble reading that. That's not what I'm looking for still. Resolution aspect ratio. I think these are just really all you need to do. Basically, the only thing that changes is basically when you're not playing on VR mode. Because I would say that the VR section up here is what I need to be looking at, but this menu just really isn't detailed at all, and sure as shit doesn't mention screen resolution or size in the slightest. I mean, I don't even know what this is supposed to be. What the fuck is a forced IDP distance?
I don't know.
I'll just flick it on, I'll see what it is eventually. Pixel density. Might actually turn that up a bit. So sometimes I do notice that, especially when you're trying to read things off on the screen.
For fuck's sake.
This gives me the opportunity to try and Google the problem. And these is CSPDreaw VR full screen. That's what I need. I just need full screen mode. Fuck, I mean, this is the kind of game I'm dealing with. That nothing in this game is simple. They just don't. They are a flight sim, and they love being complicated. Found it.
Found it.
See, Google is your best friend. So let's see. Let me just alt enter. Wait. Oh, seriously? Wait, hold on. So if I alt enter it, my screen is showing normally, so I might need to alt enter this first. Fuck this game so nice here. Okay, so the problem I'm having now is one, my headset's not aligned. Oh, I'm looking ahead of me right now, so I should be seeing the menu right here. It's over there.
Yeah.
The problem I'm having at the moment is that if I press Alt Enter, the game goes full screen the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
But on Discord, I can clearly see that it's still vertical.
Yep.
And well, probably the solution here would probably be if I were to Alt Tab, close off the stream, and start it up when it is, full screen. That would be the optimal solution. The problem is when I do Alt Tab, the game reverts back to its vertical mode. God damn it! Why is this game always so different? Is there any more permanent solution to this problem? God damn it.
Permanent solutions? Those don't exist.
No, I mean, this is... I mean, I think I can just play this, do this, and but you probably don't have the sound now, but no well.
In all honesty, because of the whole stream thing, I don't think sound is a good idea to begin with.
There we go, now it should be good.
Yep.
Alright, let me... My hands are over here at the moment where they're not supposed to be. There you go.
What are you talking about? Your hand should be there.
Well, now
Hey, Ivy.
Alright, so let me just reset this. Let me just show you the amount of complications I deal with on a daily basis now. I still don't really know how to turn this plane on, but we'll get there eventually.
You'll get there.
We've got the. Why is my mouse not working? I mean, of course, something's not working in this fucking game. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Now my mouse is actually in the. Never mind. I can't move it. I can't actually go and select the fucking. Okay, now my mouse is.
Yeah, I like to move it, move it. Yeah, I like to move it, move it.
Let's see. I mean, cold and dark. Yeah, let's do
Episode
cold.
enemy, Avatar, the Avatar of War appeared.
The Avatar of what?
Avatar of War. It is a level... I can't even see it right now. Map? I can see where it is now. Yeah, no, that's probably going to be like a level 100 enemy. I've seen...
It does sound like a 100, you know, being called the Avatar of War, as opposed to the Avatar of Puppies.
No, I've actually had like level 95 enemy before in this game. It's, I tend to avoid fighting those, you know?
I mean, I don't know, really, to be honest.
I mean, I'm level 15. Fuck having 4 level 15 characters go up against 1 level 100 character. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, all of your levels combined don't really even get to 100.
No, but like even combining them doesn't really work because it would just take out every character like in one hit.
Yeah.
Even if like we're all level 30, like it will just be one hit and then yeah, you're still wiped out.
Now loading in this game takes absolutely forever. That's only because of the maps. The maps are literally because you're flying fighter jets. They go pretty quickly, so you need a lot of space to move. And these maps are pretty detailed, and they're around roughly a couple of hundred of kilometers squared. So those maps aren't small at all. The good thing is that the first time you open up the game and you load a map, that's when it does its big load, I'd say. Because if you close the game, if you close back to the main menu and then go into another map, the same map, but then during another mission, it basically halves or even like 10% of the loading time. It basically preloads it, which is good because it loads it for the first time and it takes forever, but it keeps the map loaded if you want to do something else. So the next time you log into you go into the map, it's like 10 minutes. Less. Right. So now I'm suddenly in the cockpit of an airplane.
Airplane, put me in an airplane.
You'll notice that there's a 1,000,001 buttons.
Yeah.
And well, if I just do this. Hi. The touch isn't working. This one's working. The buttons aren't. It's always something in this game.
There's always something.
It is literally always something. Right, let me just reset the view once, just to be sure, because I did move my chair a bit. I always do want to be in the center. I'm curious as to why fucking buttons aren't. I mean, I can still just press it. That's no issue. Just do this. Use my laser pointer fingers. Because the problem is that even though I can reach over into the game physically and get there, my actual hand is right now slamming into my desk. So the laser pointer is pretty useful because I'm not actually in the cockpit of an airplane. I'm still sitting in my desk chair, which well, makes sense. I am.
I mean, Duncan, you want me to say something about that?
Well,
full dive.
I mean, that would be fucking amazing right now. But yeah, you'll notice here I am in my fucking airplane. Well, there it is over there, the actual airplane. The cockpit is pretty small in comparison. The rest of the cockpit's up there, not where it's supposed to be. Pretty sure there's a way to bring that down if I do remember the buttons.
Just stand up or like try to pull it down with your arm. Okay.
Or you do that.
I just saw it happen.
One amazingly fun and useless thing I like to do is you can flick these mirrors. And well, for some reason it doesn't do it now, but I can actually use my hand to just bloop, put them aside, which is hilarious. But for some reason the hand really doesn't want to work today. I'm also noticing the fact that when I move my head, it kind of feels wrong. It's like I'm on a gyro. Like some part of the world is moving with me, and that's not really the way it's supposed to be. I did have a 10 GB update today, so I'm kind of fearful that this update may have interrupted with VR mode just a bit, but that'll be patched out pretty quickly because most people do actually play this in VR. Because, duh, holy shit. And besides, most of the people that can afford to buy this in this game are usually the kind of people that can afford VR because, holy hell, that's expensive. Right, and the problem is now that I did my tutorial and it did tell me how to turn it on, but let's be fair, that tutorial was about half an hour too long and there are about 1 billion options too many. Well, I sure as fuck don't remember exactly what to do, so I'll stick around until I got this. Well, let's zoom in on this, because I sure as fuck can't read the fine printings. There's lights. There's lights!
Oh no, there's light.
I probably did something wrong, but hey, at least there's lights. So, yeah. 1 second, I might need to have actual sound personally, because I remember I turned the sound down because I was sharing it, but I'm not sharing it anymore. Seriously? This is the problem I have, where the cursor doesn't go over this little line here. I need to be over there. It only moves over here. But for some reason it's deciding to, you can go fuck yourself and I'm gonna be over here. Meaning I need to actually turn up my visor, go into normal mode, where the screen is, you know, vertical, and not the way it's supposed to be. Options, volume. Because if I can't hear the plane actually start up, I'm not gonna know if it's running or not.
True, true.
Just for test, does this? No, right. I was just gonna. I figured that maybe, just maybe, it was like the widescreen mode that made the buttons all funky, but no, it just didn't work. Okay. Fuck me then, I guess.
Rip.
What I do remember is that these things over here, those are the dynamic displays. Don't really need those at the moment, so that's fine. This is basically my radar or / navigation device where I put in the frequencies of the stations or the waypoints I need to go to, and then the heads-up display will, or the map down here, will show me where to go. This screen right here is basically the engines. They'll show the RPMs, the temperature, and the well, the view right next to here, and so on and so forth. These aren't doing much of fucking anything at the moment, which is problem number 1. You get the engines running. You can't really see them, but they are supposed to be back here, right there by those tail fins. Big engines. They're not doing much of anything at the moment, which is the exact opposite of what we want them to do. We want to hear lots of noise, lots of terrifyingly loud noise.
Well, you want to hear it, not me.
Well, I mean, you won't be hearing it, but I'll tell you. I'll basically just make the sounds. That's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, not right now. I'm just hearing birds chirp. Well, not even now. I closed the canopy. Because that's kind of funny. Obviously, you won't be able to hear it anyway, so there's no point in basically really displaying it. But if you put the canopy up, obviously you'll be able to hear pretty much everything around you. Gusts of wind, you hear the cars driving by, or the birds chirping overhead. Everything is simulated. If you put the canopy down, just like in real life, it secludes you, from the atmosphere, and all the sounds get kind of muffled to the point where you really don't hear them anymore. Especially those engines, those really are loud as fuck. That's why you see in videos or whatever, you always see people wearing headphones or helmets right next to aircraft, because they are loud as shit. You turn those things on and your canopy is down, then you're good.
if it's up, then you're gonna be making a lot of hasty decisions to get that thing ready down as quick as you can.
It won't deafen you because obviously you can mute the volume in the game or turn it down, whatever. But in real life, it would definitely kind of hurt if you weren't wearing your helmet.
Obviously, another side effect is that you need to still be able to hear all of the alarms and equipment in your airframe in order to know something's going up. And if you only hear those stuff in engines, then well, yeah, you're not getting hurt. You're not gonna hear the alarm telling you that there's a missile on its way to go kiss your ass goodbye.
I mean, I don't want to hear the missile. Fuck the missile.
I mean, you want to hear the alarm, not the missile. If you hear the missile, it's really close, so you really did something wrong.
No, I don't want to hear anything. I just want to hear the engine.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to hear that, put the canopy up and you're flying it, and you'll basically tear the fuck off because that's a lot of wind resistance. It's gonna happen. But yeah, obviously, that's one.
But get into the air first and then open the canopy.
I'm not sure if it's actually gonna do it. I will try it if I get this bird in the air today. I'm not convinced I will. I'm honestly convinced I'm gonna need to run the tutorial at least once or twice more times to really iron out the exact procedure. Obviously, there are tons of buttons. The tutorial guy in the game itself even says that look, there's a billion things you could check upon when you're turning your aircraft on for the first time. But in reality, there's only a few things you really need to do to get the thing running. All the other stuff is extra and depends on what you'll be doing in the mission. But if you want to start it up and fly, it's just a handful of things, and even that I've forgotten. Because he kind of forgot to explain all the other things as well. And that becomes such a headache that by the time you're done, you've forgotten everything else. Not really ideal.
No, that should be like in a different tutorial, all the extra things.
I am hearing stuff. You'll notice that the RPM of the temperature of both engines has gone up. Something's running. I remember this thing because I remember needing the green light. So if I had the green light, I can turn the engine. I can turn the right engine. No, left one. See, you'll see here that the right one and the left one, obviously they're two different engines. You'll always see on the ascent of aircraft, there's two pipes where flames come out because you've got two engines. So now the left one's running. You'll notice the RPMs come up. That's the rotations per minute. Meaning that it is definitely doing its job. I can hear it at the moment, but obviously. So. Oh, my potion just fell off my wall. That's a bad omen. When the spaceship comes falling down, and I'm about to take off into a jet fighter, I think I'm gonna come down as well. Oh well. I know that after it reached 20, I was supposed to do something. The problem is that I really just don't know. Oh wait, no, I was supposed to... Alright, so you've got the throttle right here, this push thing. It's split into two halves, left and right. One from the left engine, one from the right. Usually, when you're flying, you'll use both at the same time, because there's no point to doing one at a time. Once you're doing the spin-up maneuvers, basically filling up your engine, the right one's not running, so you don't want to be touching this right thing. You want to be touching the left one. I don't know if I can grab onto just this one. No. Because the thing is, my actual joystick doesn't have two halves, it only has the one. And I believe that in the tutorial you're given like a keyboard hotkey, which, well, the last thing you want to press when you're in VR is a keyboard hotkey, because there's a billion fucking buttons, you kinda guess which one is what. So yeah, that's not good. No, I can't move it with the actual throttle with my joystick, which is annoying. And I think that's what I need to do. I need to push this one forward just a bit to get the engine really running, get it up to
88 miles per hour.
Well, yeah, I could definitely do 88 miles per hour in this thing.
Go 88.
But yeah, I think I might have to just remember the fucking hotkey. I think it was fucking right alt and then home. Oh my god, it is! Okay. Can't fucking believe. I think I've forgotten something. I don't know what. Because I've never seen the fucking temperature get that high. I mean, look at that.
Man, I can't really read it from here.
Well, it's in the triple digits. Don't think that's supposed to be the way. I'll just see where this goes. If we explode, we explode. Oh, it's going down again. Did I do it right accidentally? I mean, that would be the way I do things, yeah.
Yeah, no, knowing you, yes.
Okay, so the left engine does appear to be working fine. I'm just as surprised as anyone else at this point. Meaning that we can flick this over to the right one. When you get that one fired up, you'll see that you can't read the details. I mean, I can barely read this. Just about. It is spooning up at the moment. Once you reach 30, we get this other thing moving, which would be easier if I can just grab it and move it, but the game's decided to, well, go fuck myself. So it's roughly at 30 now. I think it was control home. Let's just trying to look down whilst I'm pressing this. Nope. Shift home, gotcha. The thing is that obviously there's 1,000,000,001 hotkeys in this game, and I've got myself like a joystick. The basic flight controls, they are basically put onto the joystick, but most of the special stuff isn't. This is probably one of those hotkeys that I want to program on the actual stick itself eventually. But for now, I'm still getting myself used to getting this thing started up.
Yeah, I feel that.
I'm pretty sure that because they're both now at around 60, that means that they're pretty much set, ready to go. I can hear them howling away. And this is with the canopy closed, so imagine what it would sound like.
Open it up!
One thing I want to turn off, you see that mumble jumble of text there?
Yeah.
Obviously in real life you wouldn't see text floating around. I want to turn that off, but I still haven't figured out how to. So maybe if I just dick around with them. Oh yeah. Okay, let's not do that now because I'll have to dick around with the mouse again, which won't go this half of the screen basically. Right, so we've got the engines running, the parking brake's still on, that's I think this thing. And then the landing gear is this thing, and then the flaps, the actual wing flaps, there are this one. You see flap. Pretty flap. Yes. Yes. I know what I'm doing, kind of. I know that this is the ejection seat, which I've definitely pressed once. You have to press it 3 times to actually activate, and then it actually launches you into the air and makes you tangle down with a fucking parachute. And in VR, it's fucking terrifying, but also hilarious.
Okay, do it.
I'll do it to round this off, but not right now because I've only just got this thing started up. Kind of, because this thing's still off, this thing's still off, and that thing's still off.
Do it while you're in the air.
I need to do the brut, and I need to turn that thing on, twist that one too. Why isn't it turning? God damn it. Pretty sure that there was a button for something somewhere. It just took a while. And you'll notice that the heads-up display is the most interesting thing here. Because, you know, just like with an actual helmet, the heads-up display is, you know, it's partnered in the helmet, so you'll look around and it'll always stay where it is. But it's definitely also got something to do with this little pane here. You'll notice if I just switch my head to the left, the heads-up display is bound to this little box here. It won't go around it, basically. Which is just like in real life. And this heads-up display, as in general, we've all kind of seen this green layout in other flying games or anywhere where you fly an aircraft. You've seen this kind of screen before.
Yep.
But usually it's just
It's just like a hit marker where you're aiming and some ammo counts or whatever. This one, obviously, it is programmed the way it is in real life, so every single fucking number does what it's meant to do in real life, which is kind of terrifying. You've got, I believe, in the middle, obviously, still your direction indicator, not even your aiming indicator. You have to flick that on somewhere. We'll figure that out eventually, I suppose. Up top of that, you see those numbers. That's your bearing indicator, basically like your compass, just like you have in Armor 3, where you're calling out, oh, I see your enemy bearing 000 or 001, meaning that it's over there.
Bearing 2, 1, 6.
Enemy bearing 2, 1, 6, 5. Fucking Armor 3 AI. Standing fuck out of you. I hate those guys. Obviously, we've got the speed right here. The 84, which is surprising because I'm pretty sure I'm not doing 84 of anything because I'm standing still. But that's because just in real life you need to calibrate your machines. Before you start up, this is one of the things that the guy mentioned that you can do, but you're not necessarily required to do it to fly. You need to calibrate your aircraft, saying that I'm standing still on this coordinate with this wind direction and this and that, and calibrate that as you're standing still, basically. Because otherwise, the aircraft's always measuring where it is, what it's doing, and it will tell you exactly, you know, basically what it is.
The aircraft will tell you what it is.
Basically, if you go to the left,
I'm an aircraft.
and your fucking direction, your heads-up display will go to the left, because you know the aircraft's going to the left. You'll able to see it, and the heads-up display will tell you as well on top of it, in case you didn't notice that you're going to the left. But it needs to be calibrated, because right now, all the aircraft knows, we could be standing on the slope. We know we're not standing on the slope, but the aircraft doesn't know it yet. If you're standing on the slope, you need to tell them, like, I'm standing still with a list of degrees around 7 degrees to the left, indicating that you're not standing like this, you're standing like this. So you mean that you need to calibrate your heads-up display. Same goes with speed. If you're on an aircraft carrier, the aircraft carrier is always going to be moving, meaning that by the time you're starting up the plane, your plane is actually moving, even though it's technically standing still. But it isn't, because it's on a moving platform. Meaning that, you know, you still need to calibrate the speed of the actual carrier, and it is fucking complicated, okay? There's a lot of things you need to take care of, but there's things that I'm gonna try to learn myself, or look tutorials up, or play the game some more. Maybe even hang out with the odd clan or two with people that can tell me what this thing actually does. But for now, I think we're pretty much good to go. We've got the heads-up display, we've got the engines running, we've got those two screens, even though we're not going to be doing anything with them. Because, well, you don't need them. We don't really need the navigational panel, because I'm not really planning on putting this bird on the ground, because I'm going to be ejecting myself out to the ground.
Yeah, please do make sure that the plane does actually faceplant first into the ground.
So, let me just get proper up to my actual flight stick. That means I need to recalibrate my...
You guys playing Ark? Nope.
Nope. Okay. Last minute things. Parking brake.
I don't have Ark, and I'm not planning on getting Ark.
Alright, now my parking brake is off, and I believe if I push up the throttle, we'll start moving. Okay.
Oh my.
And
you got yourself a jet to work.
We do have a brake, which is the W key, and that's the only thing that I'll be using to brake, which is kind of annoying. Because it's a W key, it's on the keyboard. I can't see my keyboard, so I still need to map that somewhere. But oh well. Let's just hope we don't need a parking. We don't need to brake. We don't get into any traffic jams once we're up in the air.
That's what you say, but well, soon into the future. Should have been 5 years ago already. We should have had flying cars.
I mean, technically, you can get any car flying if you do it wrong enough.
Yeah, looking at you, because that's what you did.
Okay. So
and into the story, we took it a step further. Remember what we did in the story when you landed?
Right, so obviously there are a lot of taxi procedures you need to do to get yourself up to a runway or whatever. The game does teach you, but for now, I'll just be cruising myself over there, just like I'm playing a video game. Technically, I could probably be able to take off on the fucking grass here, but I don't feel that lucky.
There's like a speed limit you have to undergo when staying on the right side of the road or fucking God knows what, but I don't care that now, I just want to fly.
I'm surprised enough to know that we've actually got this bird moving.
Moving bird.
The one problem is that I also want this bird to stop eventually on the ground, but that's a lesson for another day, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's not something you're going to be able to do today.
Runway, if this is the runway, I don't even know, because the render distance isn't that great.
Just go into the air, Duncan.
Okay, now we're good to go. I do believe this is a runway. This is one of the problems with VR, obviously because my PC is just able to run VR. It isn't. I don't have a RTX 2080 Ti, so it's not going to be the greatest, obviously. People with VR, with a proper VR PC, could be able to look and see every little detail down the far end of that runway. I can't. Even you'll see that the trees, they look kind of funky and all that.
Yeah.
You tend not to really notice it because, you know, VR is such a cool experience that even if you do notice it, you don't really care because you don't really mind, to be fair. The whole appeal of being in VR is cool enough for you to not really care about some graphics. This is why most VR games kind of get away with the fact that, you know, graphics wise they don't really look amazing. They look good. They certainly don't look bad, but you can get away with looking a little bit shit.
Yep.
But yeah. Anyway, let's put my. This is kind of strange. Obviously, I've got my hands, but I can't hold my hand and then the flight stick, because this is where my flight stick is in the actual reality. And then look, kind of funky. I have to hold my hand, keep my hands like this. I can grab onto it physically, but that feels really weird because obviously you're just holding onto air. Ideally, you'd get yourself a actual flight sim chair where your stick, instead of being on your desk, would actually be right here where it's supposed to be. I don't have that, so I just have to keep my hands floating here whilst I let go of the controls and hold onto my joystick with my actual hand, which looks and feels about as weird as you can imagine.
That looks really weird.
Yeah. I tend to kind of not look down or try to stow my hands behind me where I can't really see them, but every so often, because, you know, I am in this cockpit, I still need to press a button occasionally, so I need one of my hands at least. So I tend not to kind of look down and be distracted by my second pair of hands.
Second pair of hands.
Because, you know, once we're in the air, we'll need the controller to put the flaps up and put the landing gear up. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to be flying for much longer. Anyway, let's actually go. Noises here. You can hear the tires, you know, going across the ground. You can hear the beeps and all the alarms and signaling that's happening at the moment. All the weird wind effects. But I might actually go and stream this occasionally, whilst I'm on the process of learning. For the fuck up! Holy shit! Oh guys, I think I just skirted over the absolute fucking. Oh man, I saw the end of the runway meters ahead of me before this thing finally took off. See, it wasn't just my shitty render graphics. The runway just was that short. Oh crud! But we're in the air now.
Yay, you did it!
You can kind of see what I was talking about earlier, where you see shadows, you know, reflected on the window here.
Yep.
It's like, which is, I mean, you could kind of say that it is kind of distracting, but it's the cool kind of distracting. It's not too distracting to the point where you can't really focus on what's important, but it's there, and it's one of those things that really make you believe that, you know, you're in an actual jet, which is surprisingly cool.
Right, Duncan, buy me a jet.
Well, I was planning on eventually dragging you into this game because obviously we do have the starter jet that you come with, and that one is accompanied with a whole bunch of tutorials, which is good because every jet's definitely different, and because I can fly this one doesn't mean I can fly the other one. But we can kind of go and do that together in the stream every so often. But yeah, I'm not really sure. You know, I'm definitely sure that you won't be playing this game a lot. At least, you know, not alone. And if we're together, then we might as well fly an aircraft that we both know, which instantly kind of irks me to believe that it's probably going to be the starter one, the free one. Let's just do that. And if we really get the hang of that, then maybe I'll look into getting you a Hornet because I just love this thing. And I don't want to buy myself another one. I don't want to buy 2 planes. Anyway, let's land the gear up. Flaps to auto. Good to go.
Well then.
Okay, so back to the heads-up display. The speeds now, usually once you're flying, obviously we had that 84, so that's it. The speed's not particularly accurate, but 84 compared to 490 really isn't that big of a difference. So you can kind of estimate what your speed is if you just retract 50. This one is your altitude meter, how high you are. Right now there's a beeping in my ear, which is kind of annoying. Right, this is my stall warning. I wasn't stalling at all, but for some reason there's a lot of alarms in this thing and safety features that you can flick off if you find it annoying or unuseful. I still need to figure out how to actually do that. Anyway, so altitude right here, speed right here. Right here you'll find another few things. Obviously the G-forces you're doing. This is your speed in Mach, because that's you always hear the aircraft going Mach 1 or Mach 2 or whatever. That's ridiculous speed, so you'll be able to see what kind of